Hi, everyone, and welcome to my first ever podcast, Creating an Inclusive Classroom. I am Jennifer Delaney, and I am a hopeful graduate of Class TCH 461, Literacy Learning in a Digital World. Today, I am speaking with my friend and fellow teacher, Megan Mason. Megan will be starting her 15th year of education this fall. She has taught kindergarten, second grade, and is currently teaching first grade. Megan holds two master's degrees, one in administration and one in educational technology. Most recently, Megan has been on the leadership team for the AI software that our district uses, Magic School. In today's podcast, we will be talking about inclusive education, specifically identity, access, and using fountains of knowledge with our pre-picked curriculum. We will also be discussing ways that we can use digital literacy to push the borders of inclusive education in our own classrooms. Welcome to the podcast, Megan. Hi, Megan, and welcome to my very first podcast. Thank you so much for helping with this challenge. I really appreciate it. So this podcast is for my digital literacies class. The main theme for this class has been about how to create an inclusive classroom. I've been in your classroom. The students are very happy. It looks like they feel accepted and in a space where they can learn and grow. What does an inclusive classroom mean to you?
For me, an inclusive classroom is a classroom where all students are valued and respected and know that they're loved and cared for. It needs to be a space that students feel safe in and understand that their ideas matter no matter what and they are valued. Finally, I feel like it's a space where we can celebrate achievements and goals no matter how big or small.
We often talk about having high expectations for all of our students, and I agree. Having expectations for all students and celebrating their growth helps them learn and grow in their autonomy as a learner. With our students, we often talk about what a behavior looks like and sounds like. What does an inclusive classroom look and sound like to you?
An inclusive classroom is a classroom that is welcoming and it offers diverse learning materials, maybe flexible seating options, visual displays that offer diverse perspectives, and lessons that are planned to meet the needs of all learners. I don't feel like it has to be a quiet space. It can sound busy where students of all abilities are working in pairs or groups to find an answer.
I just finished a project about visual displays. Diverse perspectives and diverse texts are so important. As Rudine Sims Bishop stated, we need mirrors and windows for our students to see themselves and the world around them, and they can do that in the texts you offer in your library. So I know how awesome your classroom is, but for the listeners, what are some things you have in your classroom to create an inclusive room?
First and foremost, my library includes stories with characters from different backgrounds, cultures, and family types. I also have a quiet, calming corner with comfy chairs and rugs and sensory items available for students to use if they need to.
I love the way your texts are displayed and show culture and backgrounds for everyone. And your library is so cozy and comfy. You have wonderful picture books all about culture and heritage. So if money weren't an issue, what would you add to your room to make it more inclusive?
I would love to have adjustable desks to allow students to work and stand at the same time. This would also allow students who might be like in a wheelchair to have a more comfortable workspace. I know I've had situations in the past where students are in a wheelchair and the desk is too short for them. So the adjustable desk would be wonderful to have.
That would be amazing. We could ensure access for everyone. I love the idea of the adjustable desks, and I can think of quite a few students who have benefited from that option. Maybe we should put that on the wish list at school. So one of the talking points in my program is identity. What comes to mind when you think of identity?
I think of identity as a person's beliefs that help shape who they are. I think identity can change as a person has different experiences in life. The main things that come to my mind that create someone's identity are their gender, culture, hobbies, jobs, and personal values. But I don't think it's anything that is set in stone or the same from one person to the next.
I really love your description of identity. We just read an article about our online personalities versus our offline personalities. The article discussed how our personalities change over time, and I agree that as we learn and grow, we can change. But hopefully, as the students begin to share their identities, we as teachers will learn and grow as well. So, given all of that, how do you promote identity with your students in your classroom?
We spend a lot of time sharing experiences with one another. We have a morning meeting each day when students can share any of the exciting things that are going on in their life. We also work really hard on creating positive student relationships and learning how to navigate differences and feelings.
Morning meeting is one of my favorite times of the entire day. And positive communication is so important for first graders. Sometimes they are unaware of the effects their words can have on each other. I think that's a natural thing from being six, but it's also a teachable moment. So teaching them how to navigate situations that may be uncomfortable for them, and even situations that might be uncomfortable for adults, will be a skill that they will keep with them. In class, once in a while, we talk about our community. We both live and work in our community, and our community is predominantly white middle class. Do you ever become concerned about teaching identity given the community that we live in?
I do not get concerned about it. I think as long as I'm teaching it in a positive spotlight, there's no reason to have concerns about it. I look at it as creating a safe space for my students where we can celebrate each other and the uniqueness that they bring to our classroom.
And that's exactly why I love teaching next to you. Speaking of things I learn from you daily, we can talk about digital literacy. You have saved me from software more than once, and you introduce me to new software all the time. This class is about digital literacy. Digital literacy creates access for those who may be marginalized by language or culture. Do you use any particular software for access?
I use a couple different programs such as Seesaw and Scholastic News. Seesaw is the one that comes to mind most because it supports digital literacy in several different ways. Some of those examples include digital communication. Students can create and share photos within Seesaw. They can share videos, drawings, voice recordings, and written responses to help them learn how to communicate effectively and appropriately in a digital space. It also gives accessibility. Students can include features such as voice recordings, text to speech, captions, and translation in multiple languages, making it more accessible for student or English language learners and students with different learning needs. I love the family engagement option within Seesaw. Families can view work in their preferred language, which helps bridge language and cultural barriers between home and school. It gives students digital citizenship. Students can learn how to use technology responsibly by creating digital portfolios, sharing work respectively, and receiving teacher feedback. And then finally, I love the creative expression that it provides. Students can demonstrate their understanding in multiple formats instead of just relying on a written response.
I love Seesaw. I did a deep dive on Seesaw for this particular class, and I find it to be very inclusive. But is there any software you won't use?
I do not allow YouTube in my classroom. I don't feel it promotes opportunities to create, collaborate, or communicate. I think digital literacy involves using technology actively and thoughtfully, not just consuming content.
I think that's such a huge point. As educators, we must be thinking about digital literacy and our students actively using it, not just consuming it. Have you found digital literacy to be an equalizer for all students in your room?
I believe digital literacy can be an equalizer for many students, but only when everyone has equitable access to technology and the support needed to use it effectively. Digital tools can help English language learners through translation features. It can support students with disabilities through accessibility options like text to speech and captions, and allow students to demonstrate their learning in different ways, such as through videos, audio recordings, or presentations.
I agree. Equitable access makes all the difference when it comes to digital literacy. The digital literacy game has changed so much over the years that it makes equitable access so much easier than it ever has in the past. So you are a Magic School AI program leader. Magic School is the AI program that the district has rolled out and approved for us to use with our children. In which ways did Magic School promote access for all students?
Magic School promotes access for students by helping teachers create more inclusive and differentiated learning experiences. It can generate reading passages at different grade levels. It can simplify complex texts and create materials that meet the needs of students with varying abilities. It also helps students develop accommodations and modifications for students with individualized learning needs. And then, in addition, Magic School can support English language learners by creating translated or simplified context and providing multiple ways for students to engage with lessons.
I look forward to using Magic School this year and learning more about it. Speaking of AI can help create more inclusive classrooms in many ways. When our students and community bring their founts of knowledge, AI is a way to bring their stories to life and even their memories to life. Founts of knowledge has come up several times in my studies this summer. With our semi-scripted curriculum, how do you center the students' founts of knowledge in the teaching curriculum?
I center students' knowledge by recognizing and valuing the experiences, cultures, and perspectives that they bring to the classroom. I encourage students to make connections between new concepts in their own lives, provide opportunities for them to share their ideas and incorporate their interests into the lessons whenever possible. This helps students see themselves reflected in the curriculum and increases engagement.
I agree. That's a great way to bring them into the curriculum to center their founts of knowledge within the curriculum. So specifically, how do you make our curriculum inclusive?
I make the curriculum inclusive by using a variety of instructional strategies and materials that represent diverse cultures, backgrounds, and viewpoints. I also differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all my learners by providing multiple ways for students to access content and demonstrate their understanding. Using technology, accessibility tools, and collaborative learning opportunities helps ensure that every student has the support that they need to participate and succeed. My goal is to create a classroom where all students feel respected, valued, and empowered to learn.
And Megan, that's exactly what makes you an exceptional educator. If the kids don't feel respected, valued, and empowered, they will always have barriers to learning. I have the privilege of watching you teach these beliefs every day. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and some tips about how to create an inclusive classroom.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to my first ever podcast. I enjoyed sharing my conversation with you. A special thanks goes to my friend and co-teacher Megan for being willing to be so open and flexible with me on this forum. I hope you found some points to ponder. See you next time.